David Bowie, Marilyn Monroe, Frank Sinatra, Johnny Depp. What do all these famous faces have in common? They're all high school dropouts. As a society, we root for the underdog. Everybody wants to hear a story about someone beating the odds. While origin stories of our favorite celebrities may stick out in our mind, it's crucial to remember that dropping out of high school leads to an unstable path. I am just as much a fan of Johnny Depp as any, but does that erase the fact that individuals without a high school diploma are 3 times more likely to be unemployed than those who do? With a massive community of celebrities boasting their high school dropout status, in a survey conducted for this documentary, I decided to include a question asking participants how successful they think high school dropouts are as a whole compared to those who completed their education. Much to my surprise, the media seems to have made a much smaller impact than I had anticipated. 70% of participants claim that overall, students who drop out of high school are less successful than those who don't. Approximately 40,000 Canadian students drop out of high school each year. Although somewhat startling, this finding raises a multitude of questions. Can dropping out of high school be more beneficial for some students than continuing? How does dropping out of high school affect an individual's future? What kind of societal impact does dropping out have? What is being done to combat this issue? And most importantly, what can we do to encourage students to complete their education? In truth, many of these questions don't have a clear-cut answer. There's no study that documents our successes and our struggles based on our education. All we know right now is that high school dropouts face social stigma, fewer job opportunities, lower salaries, and a higher probability of involvement with the criminal justice system. In the survey, lack of interest, stress or pressure to succeed, and poor grades were identified as the 3 main reasons that students choose to drop out of high school. In Canada, it's estimated that every high school dropout costs the provincial government $16,000 through resources like unemployment insurance and welfare. In the US, approximately 75% of crimes are committed by high school dropouts. We know that high school dropouts are creating a societal strain, and we have a decent idea of why they choose to abandon their education. So what's being done to encourage students to complete their education? The answer is not enough. According to Newfoundland High School principal Michelle Clemens, students at risk of dropping out of school are identified around the 8th grade. However, of the at-risk students, those who require individualized education are often overlooked due to lack of resources. In fact, in instances where Clemens feels that a student has exhausted the school's resources, she recommends organizations outside of the school that can help students work towards completing their GED privately. Unfortunately, few programs like this exist for students under the age of 18. This means that even if a student is identified as at risk of dropping out of school at the age of 12, they may not have access to the resources that could help them complete their education until they turn 18. This gap in time is detrimental to at-risk students. Ultimately, the absence of individualized education plays a key role in a student's decision to leave school. There's no question that something needs to be done. Every student that slips through the cracks is a reminder that as a society, we're not doing enough. If the legal age to drop out of high school was changed from 16 to 18, I'm inclined to believe that dropout rates would change. Alternatively, a more individualized education plan should be implemented for at-risk students. After all, how can we expect students to succeed when we leave them to fail?